was divorced with a child, and then I met Stephen. And after about a year, we decided to get married. And I did not want to have another child at that time because my other daughter was about 6 or 7 years old. And she was with her father a lot of the time, so I didn't have any responsibilities when she was away. But Stephen wanted a child, so I said I would have one. So we met, we got married, and then we had Ashley. And when Ashley was born, she was 13 days late and born breech. But the doctor said she was fine. And then I guess she was about 8 months old. And I had questions and I spoke to my pediatrician because Ashley didn't seem to be progressing the same way that Erica did. And I know you can't compare two children, but it just seemed like she was very delayed. And the pediatrician thought that it was nothing, and so we didn't follow up on it. But when she was, I think, about 2.5, I had more concerns because she wasn't speaking, she wasn't toilet trained, she started walking, I think she was a year and a half
She
or
didn't
two.
play with things.
She didn't play with toys, she didn't speak, and we had her tested at LIJ. And it came back that she was borderline for everything, but she was delayed. And that really knocked us through a loop. Borderline meaning that her IQ was on the border of being retarded and not. And at the time they said retarded, but now it's developmentally delayed. And it causes a problem because no matter what services you look for, they see that she's borderline and don't want to give them to you.
So you have to fight for it. Go on.
We had to fight for everything. And we even had to fight for SSI because she's borderline, and we had to go to court, and they had I forgot what they called it. What did they call that guy?
A judge.
A vocational expert or something. And he testified. We had a psychologist, a teacher. Who else?
Well, this was later in years.
Yeah, this was when she was
getting
18, I think.
Yeah, but we jumped over a whole section of her life where she went to school at LIJ instead of preschool. She went to LIJ.
Yeah, she went to LIJ preschool.
And basically, when she went, they had found her not to be the same as everybody else, and at her age, doing the same things. But she was cute as a little button, and she was fun, and
everybody loved her.
And everybody loved her. And then she had a special love, an Uncle Artie, who was a very special person to her. In fact, her first words were not Daddy or Mommy; they were Uncle Artie. And to this day, Uncle Artie is one of the most important people in her life, and who loves her so much back. It's an unusual relationship that makes you want to cry. And a little jealous of, too.
He's my favorite uncle from the time I was born. And we have a lot of crazy adventures, like going down the Delaware River.
Rafting.
And once in a while, maybe a balloon ride.
Hot air ballooning.
So, crazy adventures like that. But all good ones.
And he's very supportive.
He's a crazy person, but I have to love him for the way he is.
He supports her in every way.
Yeah.
And you can almost assume he's the father because he's so in love with her. It's just, I've never seen somebody outside the immediate family love somebody so much that they do anything for them. And he would.
And he still does.
Yes. And he's 31 years old. So it's a very special relationship. And I hope it never ends. Go on, Ash.
Actually, one of the greatest adventures I had with him was seeing a baby eagle when it was born. So
Where was that? At the zoo?
That was upstate. Actually in a graveyard where a baby eagle's nest is.
True.
How did you find it?
He did.
Well, we saw people walking around and they were like, oh, there's baby eagles in a tree. So.
Wow.
So we went and found the nest, and we found it, and we saw other eagles flying back and forth from it, and we do a lot of things like that upstate where Uncle Artie lives.
That's wonderful. That's really nice. So go on.
Ashley, why don't you tell them about the phone call that you had for Uncle Artie when she was how old, Paulette?
I think she was
2.5 years,
2.5, yeah,
maybe 3. No, it had to be later
I'll
than
let you guys talk about it.
Okay. She must have been about 3 years old, and Uncle Artie called from upstate New York to talk to us.
And we put him on
And-
speakerphone.
Put him on speakerphone. That's on the wall. We had a wall phone that you put on speaker, and Ashley grabbed the phone, actual phone that wasn't active. The speakerphone was, and she was walking around in circles. Uncle Artie, Uncle Artie, Uncle Artie, Uncle Artie, and every time he'd speak, and she'd go, Uncle Artie, she was looking at the wall, the phone, and she was looking at the phone in her hand. She couldn't figure out what was going on. This went on for like 10 minutes.
She looked in the kitchen cabinet.
She thought maybe she looked in the cabinet, opened the door in the cabinet. It was the cutest thing you'd ever want to see. And what we do sometimes at home, Ashley also does, she takes these movies out, because we took movies of it, and she shows it to her friends, and they all get a nice laugh. And it's very cute. It's very cute.
Ashley, do you remember that far back?
Yeah, I could remember a lot of stuff since I was born.
Ashley also has another thing where when she was young and learning things and gathering things in her mind, she'd remember details that none of us could. She met people and she knew the name of the person, the wife, the child, the dog's name, where we were when we met them. She also now, at this point in time, she's had a boyfriend who was a very nice guy, and he was into being he wanted to be an announcer for the radio, and basically he was into sports and football, and Ashley wanted to share what he loved, and she went ahead and remembered all the sports players, all the stats, where they live, how wife and a daughter.
I hate to cut into
Go
your
ahead.
conversation, but I know I had a big passion for tennis when I was growing up, and I still watch it to this day. But I got him into tennis, and we started talking about like our favorites of what we loved about all different sports and who we met and who we didn't meet as our favorite top athletes when we were in school.
Who were your favorite tennis players of all time?
So I did this thing called Best Buddies, which is also a nonprofit, and I had the pleasure of meeting my tennis idol, Tommy Haas of Germany, at a Best Buddies event.
Wow.
And
That
several more since then.
That must have been so cool.
In fact, well, we're jumping the years, but to bring us back where we were and to continue in that order, and we'll get up to there as well, and we could talk more. Let's see. So Ashley was growing up, and then we had to find what to do, where to take her, and basically we were searching. And then Paulette mentioned that other scenario that you said before. It was difficult to find places that would accept her, so we had to become, what's the proper word?
Guardians.
We had to become her legal guardian because she couldn't make decisions for herself. And at what age was she at about?
I think she was 18.
We had to take the ability of making decisions out of her hands because she couldn't make them on her own yet. And also her label kept changing. The government, I guess, kept changing what the rules were for this title or this title. And can you say a little more about it and pick it up?
No, well, she ended up with learning disabled, and learning disabled doesn't really describe anything. You know, you're a little slower than most people,
They also
but
said
it doesn't help in a diagnosis.
they also said she was borderline retarded at one point. And then that wasn't an accurate description of her, because look how she looks. She's much more advanced, um, in my opinion, and I have an accurate description in my own mind. Ashley is a 30-year-old woman.
31.
31, excuse me. I'm a natural father who forgets a lot of dates and times and things like that. That's why I'm glad I have both of them. Um, Ashley is a 31-year-old woman who has a disability, and it's not major. And basically, she can be, in certain areas, she can actually be a 22 or 25 or 26 or 31-year-old person. But then when it comes down to certain scenarios, she goes back into her abilities of a 14 or a 15 or a 12 or a 16-year-old person, depending upon the event and depending upon what life needs upon her to react. She can't drive a car. She can't cross a heavy highway, Sunrise Highway, on her own. Although she just told me she did do it on her own, and she was accompanied by somebody.
No, I wasn't. I was only on
by
the phone
yourself?
with my mom.
And you did it by yourself. So
Right.
each day in our life, as we go on, she keeps doing things and hitting plateaus that she hasn't had. But going back into the years where we were trying to find support services to help us with her, we kept trying to find the right. You didn't know who to talk to. You didn't know where to go. You didn't know what organizations. And now, years later, all the organizations, a lot of them have combined, and government has changed the whole program, and they made it a different way. I don't know if it's better or worse. But after the years of struggling, you got to know the right person to find out what she's qualified for, or who she can call, or where to go. People just don't know these things. And that's one of the problems we had. One of the problems we had, to get the right help for her, get the best help for her that we can afford, that we could do. And we always wanted to do the best we can for her, and she deserved it. And she grew, and she became a woman. So she did very well with that.
So when I went to the grade schools, I kind of got bullied, I really don't like. So I only had one friend that I stuck close to, and I would hang out with her all the time. And we would do things like go to the movies, like social activities, like get together, go for a walk, talk to like other friends. When I went to high school, things got better and I kept meeting more new people. It was a struggle to meet people, but now look at me, like I'm better. I'm doing more than I can with that.
I have a question. So is the way that you dealt with the bullying just to kind of stick it out and wait, and eventually it stopped?
Yeah, I think it did.
Okay.
Tell them about the bus.
Why don't you? Because you're the hero for that one.
No, you tell them about the bus.
Sure, I went on the bus one time and people made fun of me. And Dad, can you continue that?
Okay, she was going to what school?
Grade school.
Going to
Must have been
grade school. And on one of the days when the bus was bringing her home from school, she occasionally had problems with some of the kids on the bus, teasing her or playing with her mind, let's say, or trying to, which I was aware of. And we didn't want to interrupt. There was a driver on the bus, and was there a matron on the bus as well?
No.
No, okay.
It was
So,
a regular school bus.
A regular school bus at that time. And the scenario was, I watched my daughter. I was upstairs in my house, and I watched my daughter come walking by other children. She was in the back of the bus walking to the front. I don't know if she went to the back on her own, or basically that's where they put her. I don't know what the deal was, but that wasn't an issue or a problem. What was a problem was, as she's walking, I actually see her go from the distance in the window, go face down, and the books fly. And then while she was face down, I actually saw books flying from the front of the bus, her books back to the back of the bus. And then I saw her get up to walk that way, and down she goes again. And then this thing kept going on back and forth. and they were doing it the other way. They throw it again, and again I see her. Somebody put a foot out, and they trip her as she's walking out. And this kept going on. The bus driver didn't turn around. When the bus driver didn't turn around, and I saw my daughter being abused this way. I ran out of my bedroom, and I have a large flight of stairs. Somehow, I literally flew down the stairs without touching too many steps at all. I leaped, and I must have went 3/4 of the way down and just took another step from there, from a full flight of stairs. I ran outside, jumped onto the bus, and I started screaming because I saw my daughter laying on the floor with her books still all surrounded all around her, with the kids laughing, and the bus driver still didn't turn backwards. So I got frantic, and I basically yelled at the driver and said, "Why are you allowing this to happen?" And he didn't answer me. He turned back and looked forward. So I turned to the kids that are on the bus abusing her, and I knew that she would tell me what they were doing to her occasionally. And I basically threatened them that if they ever did it again, I would rip them off the bus myself, and I would bring them to their parents, and I would deal with it in that manner. And then I didn't touch anybody. I heard that 1 or 2 of the boys pissed in their pants. But the message was sent across by the volume of my voice and the attitude I must have shown at that time. I meant no harm, but after your daughter's in that scenario and you watch it and the bus driver didn't intervene and it keeps going on, I was beside myself and not in control. So basically, they wanted to take my daughter off the bus permanently, and they also possibly wanted to bring charges to me. However, nothing happened. And I'm grateful for that. It wasn't my intention to make 2 kids piss or hurt their feelings or scare them, although it did stop some of the bullying, because after I went to that extreme, I don't know, was the school, someone in the school approached these people, the kids and people, or the bus, and I'm told that they were taken care of and they weren't going to act that way any longer. And I don't know what happened with the bus driver. I would hope that they would discipline him to stop. If you're stopped, and your door is open, get up and turn around and react to someone that's being abused right on your bus instead of ignoring it.
So in grade school, high school, middle school, all those schools, I was in special education all of my life.
Best teachers.
I had the best teachers of all who taught me so much, and even to this day, I still apply the information that I need to know.
What was your favorite subject?
I would say science.
I thought it was lunch. I'm kidding.
Never.
Oh, she did very well in
Science and
biology.
social studies would be, because I love learning about history, even to this day.
It's like a story. It's kind of like a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like history too.
One day when I was in school, I took a math class with like algebra and stuff like that in middle school. And the special ed kids wanted to be called out of the room to modify, like break down the test. I asked if I could stay, just to be like the regular kids, to see what it would be like without modifying it, and the teacher let me. The regular teacher came over to me specifically, and he broke it down for me, like the format that I needed to know.
And how'd you do?
I think I did excellent with it.
So you understood it.
I did.
Very cool. Now, is that a problem? So that then maybe they say, well, you don't need special education if you can do that.
No, in the middle school, they had collaborative class, so you didn't have a choice really. You went in with the mainstream kids, but then when she went to high school, she went into a what was it? Daily living
Like a
skills program, life skills program,
A class.
Right.
So.
And she did not graduate Regents with a diploma or part of the graduation ceremony.
I did graduate.
She did
with
graduate.
Oh, she did, I'm
She
sorry.
did go
With
to
the
the ceremony.
graduates.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
But she didn't graduate with the other kids, regents.
Right.
She graduated
the
with
high
the kids from
courses.
her class,
Okay.
but she did not get a regent's diploma. She got
Right.
an IEP diploma.
Right.
Okay.
I don't remember everything.
But I did
That's
get
why I have a
I-
wife.
I did get to be a part of honors night because I got a special honor
Scholarship.
a scholarship from a lady. So
Very nice. Very
Yes.
cool. Well, so tell me, Paulette, you were starting to talk a little bit about high school, about those years were like. Can you talk a little
I
bit
think
more?
high school was better for Ashley. The kids, I guess, they were more mature. They grew up a little bit, and they were not. She was not bullied in high school. I think she had a very good experience in high school.
You
And
had friends?
Best buddies.
she had
A lot.
a best buddy, right?
Tell
Is
me
that
about
what
they-
Best
they
Buddies does,
started-
the organization?
Yes.
they pair people with disabilities to regular people, like the
Like a big brother.
the balance of one-to-one friendships.
They do a lot of activities. They had meetings. They went to a lot of places.
They're in the app, too.
And with that,
Ashley's traveled the world with this.
with Best
With the world.
Buddies, I became
The
I
ambassador.
became ambassador
Ambassador.
for Oceanside Schools. Oceanside
buddies.
was the only first chapter on Long Island. So
And where did you travel to?
I went to Indianapolis for their international leadership conference. I got to even go to a lot of places. Like, if I told you, you would be really jealous. I got to go on Forbes' yacht with Mr.
But you didn't
Forbes
say why.
himself.
You didn't say why. They asked Ashley to make speeches.
In fact, the first one that she mentioned, that she spoke in front of 2,000 people, was where?
At the conference.
At the
The conference was 2,000 people, and Ashley got up and spoke in front of 2,000 people. I don't think we could do that.
How did that feel?
I was nervous, but I felt like I could represent Oceanside to bring it on home.
She met
And she did.
people like Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife.
No.
Maria Shriver?
No.
I know
Yeah.
Maria Shriver's brother, Anthony Kennedy
Yeah.
Shriver, who founded Best Buddies with his mother, Eunice Shriver, very personally, like on a very personal basis. And every event that I went to, he was there. So I feel like him and I have become mutual best buddies.
How cool is that?
Is
It was
You've
very
done some
cool.
amazing things.
that's why we're impressed. She's come a long way and she's done a lot. And it's very good that she is the way she is now.
And Harvey Weisenberg also supplied a grant to go to the conference in Indianapolis.
Tell me, you did mention that you are friendly with Harvey and that you know each other. And,
Yes.
and when I mentioned you to him, he did say, "Oh, yes." So what can you say about, just a little bit about that?
Okay, well, the balance of the friendship of Anthony Kennedy Shriver and I are just like me and Harvey Weisenberg.
How did you meet Harvey?
It's very funny. When I was in high school, I had a teacher. Her name was Penny Ellis. So Penny was very good friends with Harvey and Ellen. And Harvey came to school to give us, to speak. And when he spoke, I was in tears. I walked out of the room, and then he came out of the room like we didn't even know each other. So we became best friends.
That's wonderful. That's really wonderful. So what are some of the things that you would say to families who have children who maybe are new to having being a family, or young people who have special needs, who might be afraid to go on the bus, or who might be intimidated by all the big kids, or people, or who are new to this? What are some of the things that you would say?
I would say, as a person with a disability, try not to be nervous and just talk to someone that you can trust about these issues.
Smart.
Don't be afraid to even show it either.
She's taught us a lot of things in our life and how to make it better. And it is getting constantly better. And we're hoping for a day she'll go on her own because we won't be here forever, which we're afraid of. And we're in this new government with the way they've changed things. Now there's a change in the whole system, it seems, that
A bad change or a good change?
I'll let my wife answer that one.
I think it's a good change. Ashley really needs to live on her own, and there are no homes available because the spaces are given to people who are in need because of their family life or they have no place to go, and Ashley doesn't fit in there. So with the new program, we're trying to get her ready to maybe have her own apartment
Or be a shared
or
apartment.
we share an apartment, and we're hoping that maybe this way she'll be able to live on her own.
Are there, do you have ideas about how that could come to be or what that would look like?
The first thing I'm going to mention, just to break in first, is one of the hardest things to do is to find out what you have to do and where to go and what to do. My wife has been a champion at getting to the right place, getting to the right people. And when you find the right people, you have to devour them for as much knowledge. And it's usually in an inconvenient time when you're trying to meet somebody and then you're in a meeting trying to learn more things. But some of the most valuable information is found in where the PTA
Or SEPTA
SEPTA,
and other parents who've already
That
been
is a
in the
big
system.
one. And if you know one like Rhonda, tell them about.
No, you have to know people who've been in the system longer than you, because they've been there
Find
and
the
they can help
shortcuts.
you along. And you need to network.
Ashley, are there things that you have that are kind of dreams or things that you hope to do someday?
I just like helping people, and I want to see the world a better place where we can all be equal and not make fun of or do anything that would hurt us.
Can you tell me a little bit about your job?
Sure. I work for Trader Joe's. I do whatever the boss entitles me to. And I love my coworkers. They're all like my best friends.
What is and what is it usually that you end up doing?
Sometimes I do cashier work. Sometimes I do stocking. Whatever they think of. I have a list when I go into work. And if there's stuff that's not on it, the boss will tell me to do different stuff.
What's it like if someone doesn't know how to find what they're looking for? Are you able to help them, and what's that like?
It's actually fun because we have a lot of regular customers that come in, and they're always like, "So Ashley, tell me the news story. Like, what have you been up to?" They want to know not our personal stuff, but we try to give them a little bit of info, and then we help them find their stuff in the store that we can apply to.
I also will add that Ashley has become, it seems like the mayor of Oceanside in the Trader Joe's store. And she has had the luck of having the most phenomenal people who support people like Ashley as bosses. When those people come in from day one, all that we've met, actually, there's a funny story how it happened. Why don't you tell them the story of how we got involved with Trader Joe's? And we did it at a meeting.
Okay, so Best Buddies hold a Thanksgiving feast every year for the community.
And they donated.
I approached one of the bosses and I was like, "Is it okay if I get a job?" Because my class, when I was in school, we used to volunteer there. And I loved it so much. And I just approached them about it, and I got to work there, even during the summers, and learn a lot more.
So one day at a Thanksgiving Day feast, what happened after the feast?
I went in, they gave me an application, and I got the job.
You approached the boss I'm referring to at the meeting if I can work for you. And this is way after she's been going there and being what was it a class or that she went over with the class to see how things are done in a business, and they were very nice there, and they donated food to the Thanksgiving feast, as a lot of people did and businesses did, and then some of the people from the Trader Joe's came to the feast. Um, and I believe these are type events that we'd always see Harvey. He was always a speaker at these in the years past, and we always enjoyed seeing him there. And Ashley decided to go ask for her own job. She was a little afraid, so I
So
helped her walk up.
I went to my parents. I'm like, I think I'm gonna get a job. I think I'm gonna go talk to them. Like, is it okay if I go?
Yes.
So I approached the manager, and then I got the job.